All right, it is the debut of the Everything Guide to Sports Betting here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, as we welcome you in. I'm Patrick Maher, live from Vegas. Of course, Josh Applebaum, the author of the Everything Guide to Sports Betting, as we open it up. Now, when I first moved to Vegas, maybe one of the biggest, if you're a sports betting nerd like me, Derek Stevens and our friends over at the D and Circa Sports, he took me behind the scenes, ground zero, the war room where everything happens. And I have to tell you, Josh, it was the coolest experience for a guy. I've been betting since I'm 14 years old. I'm 42. I got to see what Chris Bennett and I got to see what all these guys behind the scenes were doing in the war room. People just think it's a computer. They're just plugging it in. These are the sharpest minds in the game behind these books, especially over at Circa. And you got to get over there, man. It was pretty awesome.
Patrick, I'm jealous. Yeah, I'm still in Massachusetts. I'm in Boston. Hopefully, we get legalized pretty soon here. But next time we go behind the book with Chris at Circa, you better take me with you. And I think what's really cool is we're going to bring on a lot of bookmakers onto this show and really try to educate the bettors of what it's like behind the book to help them make smarter bets overall.
Okay, let's welcome in Chris Bennett at BetChris, sportsbook manager for Circa Sports. And as we say hi, hopefully you're doing well, Chris, and you're safe and everything's good. Let's get into win totals and the conversation that goes on behind the book when setting win totals. How early does it start?
Well, which sport or league are we talking about in
Yeah, we're
particular
talking about
here? NFL?
football specifically. Yeah, with everything that's happening with the NFL. Let's talk about football specifically.
Well, what would normally happen with the season wins market uh, is dependent on how busy we are with other things during the course of the year. And 2020 is turning out to be very unusual, obviously, in terms of what events are actually taking place now and getting canceled, and what that means for our ability to put up markets in the future. And so we ended up putting up our NFL season wins on what would have been Selection Sunday for the NCAA basketball tournament, which is way earlier than normal. There's no scenario otherwise where we would have had our NFL season wins up on that date. But when we looked at everything that had gotten canceled and what's something that we could actually work on that would be worthwhile, we got the idea that the NFL season wins were worth doing because the season was far enough out that we could be reasonably confident that every team was going to play a full 16 game season, and it's the NFL. It's the most popular thing to bet on, so there should be some interest because of that. And that's what we ended up doing, is just churning those things out as quickly as we could once we made that decision to hang them.
So, Chris, if you can, and thanks again for so much for coming on with us, but can you take us behind the book a little bit? Let's say an NFL team goes 10-6 last year. It's not as easy as setting their win total at 9.5 or 10.5 the next year. So, what are really the main factors you look at, and how do you come up with these numbers for each team?
So with the NFL, what you're doing is you're looking at every individual game because the schedule is very impactful to what a team's season wins number is going to be, what those win probabilities are from game to game. So there's one pretty basic path to go on to end up with your season wins numbers, and that would be to come up with a power rating for every team, and that just tells you what the point spread would be on a neutral field. So you can match up any two teams that way with their power ratings. And then obviously you factor in home field advantage, and you get a game point spread. So then you just need to translate the game point spread to a money line. And then what does that money line mean for win probability? Now, if you're really good, you can just skip over the translating it to a money line and just take your point spread and turn it into a win probability. But you come up with a win probability for every individual game. You just add them up, and that spits out your season wins number. And if you do it that way, everything should add up to the true number of wins that will happen in a given season amongst all the teams. So you're not biased either way towards too high of numbers on a team or too low of numbers on a team. And of course, with the rules we've had over the last couple of years, there have been some ties, and you got to remember that as well. I mean, it has almost no impact on the numbers you hang for season wins, but that skews the overall wins in the league down just slightly.
That's great. And also nuts and bolts for our listeners and viewers. What are the limits on win totals? The total amount of money that you accept on these, and do they vary based on the sport? Also, when do you pay out? When if a bettor would cash his win total maybe early, does he get the money early, or does he have to wait until the season's over? And then just who are betting win totals? Is it mostly sharp guys, professional bettors? Is it casual bettors? Any tendencies, pros versus Joes with win totals?
Um, so you got to wait till all 16 games are played. That is a very important stipulation on season wins markets. So if you bet a team over 6 wins and after 12 games they've got 7 wins, you haven't actually won the bet yet officially. They've got to play all 16 games for there to be action. So regardless, you're going to have to wait until that last game of the season is played and the actual season win number is posted for that team. So it is, a long period of time that you have to wait on a season wins bet for football. Given that the absolute earliest the NFL season will end is January 2nd, I think, of 2021, that's a long time to have a bet pending, to have your money tied up. And typically what you see is that the people that are betting it, in April are sharp. So if someone's betting a meaningful amount, and right now, we're only open on the mobile app, so you've got to have a mobile app account. To make a bet, our limits are 2,000 on NFL season wins, and that number will increase at some point. Certainly, it'll be after the draft and probably sometime during the summer. I mean, we'll see what happens with the league's plans for trying to play this upcoming season. But yeah, right now, anybody who's betting a meaningful amount close to that 2,000, I can pretty much guarantee you that that's someone that we respect their action, and we're going to move that number significantly.
Chris Bennett, sportsbook manager, Circa Sports at BetChris. Chris, thank you so much for the time today, man. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Circa
Chris.
Sports, Circa Millions was an overwhelming success. And what I like about Circa, they're outlaws. They get out in front of it, right? They're ahead of the curve with some of these futures bets. You can check them out, circasports.com. We continue to roll along right here on the Everything Guide to Sports Betting. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Come on back.